So the first one I'm going to touch on today, and it's actually the most complicated, so I'm going to try and get this out of the way, and it's all about achieving financial freedom. What is my plan? Someone asked me, but then likewise, how can you go about kind of achieving it? So it's not easy. So please, take what I say in the next few minutes with a grain of salt, but it's more about the high level themes, and then we can kind of, drill down a little bit. So I purposely put the question mark at the end because it's even a question of, is it possible? And it's not easy, but there are certain things that I just know from experience and I know from being around that you really kind of need to tackle. But if you get them right, it does kind of work. Good morning, Roberto. Hi, Simon. I think everyone, I'll be honest, wishes they had more time to read books. But I think one of the things that I've noticed, and I do read quite quick. But one of my pet peeves is when I read books and they're rubbish and you think I've just wasted 12 quid on that and God knows how many hours, and there's nothing worse, because then you kind of regret the decision, etc. So if I think something's really good, I'll try and take it and embrace it to then save you 20 hours reading the book to maybe cover it in a 5-minute YouTube video. But it's that kind of thing that time and being time poor is one of the things that I've really learned is a major driver. So you'll see me constantly trying to evolve over time to kind of improve that. But anyway, I'm going to jump back to the questions, but no, thank you for the comments. So in terms of achieving financial freedom, for me, there's 3 sides to it. So the first one it's actually knowing what you want, but likewise, it's knowing what makes you content, and I'll kind of go into that. So it's a classic human condition, and I actually think it's hardwired, and I've done a lot of kind of research on this, but it's almost where humans are animals and we are hardwired to evolve the species. That's just what we are, that's who we are. So we constantly always seek out threats and danger. It's part of the reason why humans will never be happy. There's an interesting concept called the purple dots, which is about how even in if you present someone no problems at all, or find the problem within this kind of range, humans will always find something, even if it doesn't exist. And the classic example is, we often complain about really small things in our lives that, seem really big at the time. It could be a bad email, it could be a bad conversation, it could be that someone, slighted you in the supermarket, etc. But then you compare that to other people, for instance, in the Middle East at the moment, there's a potential war going on, different levels of problems. But the point is, humans were just hardwired to kind of do this. But where this is concerned is that we all have wants, aims, and desires. I've been there, I'm still there in some ways. But actually, the truth is, if you achieve the Ferrari or the bigger house or whichever, often you get used to it over time. So actually, it might be a really big goal to strive towards, to buy that Porsche and really kind of, achieve that lifelong goal, which is fantastic. But over time, you will come to find kind of is just the car. And then what people then do is search for bigger and bigger goals to keep you on that treadmill, if that makes sense. The trick is actually finding what makes you content and what makes you happy, and almost knowing that even if I know some people that have got 30 million quid in the bank and they're miserable because they don't know what makes them happy, what makes them content. The one difference that people do value is experiences. So if you go on good holidays and things, or spend quality time with your family, the family experience is what you enjoy, and that is worth paying for. But the point is, when you kind of know what makes you content, you can build your life and be happy with that. That for me now, I used to have the nice cars and stuff. It's actually it's the creative side actually makes me happy. Costs me nothing, but actually it's kind of important. But that's a really important thing, because if you don't know what makes you happy, you'll constantly chase stuff which will make financial freedom almost impossible. And it's a mindset thing that maybe comes with age, but it's still important to look at. So the next one, so we've got know what you want. The next one is to do with your costs. And what I'm going to class this, because it's a business context, in terms of overhead. And you really want to kind of look at reducing your overheads where you can. in a personal capacity, that could be your mortgage, it could be your car payments, it could be your credit card interest payments, whichever. But when you're looking to build financial freedom and really kind of get to where you want to get to, actually reducing your costs is a really important thing, because we can control that. We can actually decide how big a house we live in, how much money we spend. Because if we know what we're content with, we don't overstretch, because actually you're kind of happy. But actually your costs are really important. And then the last one, which is the obvious one, is all about your income. And there are lots of things that we can do to help boost your income. We cover it in the course. And again, it can either be as an entrepreneur, as someone that works in a job that has a side hustle, or likewise someone that is, whatever kind of works for you. And there are lots of ways to grow that over time, which is fantastic. But the thing you want to do is you need to get the delta, the difference between what comes in, you want it there, and what goes out, as big as possible. If you're an engineer, you draw a triangle to show the delta. It's an old fashioned thing. But basically, if you have outgoings of £1,000 a month, but you have £5,000 a month coming in, that's a good scenario to kind of be in, because either in a business context, you can then reinvest that to make more money and help building your income, or it just gives you the security to really kind of know that you can pay your bills, that actually if you were to lose your job and you've got a big cash buffer, you're in a good position. And actually financial security is one of the main things that people worry about, which keeps them awake, which makes them unhappy. So actually knowing that you're secure makes you content, which actually helps this whole thing work. So the trick is, from a business point of view, it's how do you reduce costs and then continually look at your suppliers and everything that you should do, even down to your payment terms, and we cover it all kind of in the course. But then likewise, the thing that everyone focuses on is your income. And the big thing for a lot of people in the real world is all to do with your mortgage. So for instance, me and my wife, we work hard, but also we're quite reasonable with our money, that we're hoping to have our mortgage paid off before too long. And then actually my overheads will drop dramatically, which then for me, which will be in about 3 years' time, give or take 4 years' time, is when I will class myself as being financially free, that I'll be in a really good position to just do the stuff that I want to do. And the truth is, I enjoy doing this. So you'll probably just see me kind of do this more or invest more into the business, which should help this column, but actually it makes me happy. And it's that kind of thing that you could have a business that brings in and pays you £200,000 a year, but if your costs are equally as high, and it's not really making you happy, you'll never be financially free. And it's just a mindset thing. But on a basic level, know what you want and know what makes you happy, and really kind of, you'd learn that over time. There's nothing wrong with wanting, nice financial things and rewards. For me, one of my goals is to buy a 911. It's one of my kind of goals. But for me, I will only do that after I've achieved what I want to with this. And I also know that I will enjoy having it, I'll take pride in it, but it won't make me happier. But I'm still striving for it, if that kind of makes sense. And don't get me wrong, there's a lovely house around the corner that I really want, and it could be 2-3 million quid. It's nice to have the goal, but actually I'm not going to kill myself to kind of get it. So hopefully that was useful. Joe, who asked the question, this is my kind of take on it, but if you've got any questions, please feel free to send them in, and I'll jump on to the next one.